We're going to speak now to a military volunteer who travelled from Britain to Ukraine to help in the fight against Russia. Ended up, though, as a prisoner of war facing the death penalty.
Thankfully, Aiden Aslin was released last year, but he's since returned to the war-torn nation, this time to deliver aid across the country.
Well, Aiden joins us now from Ukraine. Aiden, thank you so much for talking to us. Just explain what happened when you were initially captured to then decide now, I'm going to go back and help.
Good morning. I think a lot of it was, especially with what the world saw that they put us through. I mean, everyone saw the headlines when we were sentenced to death and the images that came out after I shortly went into captivity. And then thankfully we were exchanged in September 2022 when we were in a large prisoner exchange. Most people would have thought I wouldn't have returned, especially after an ordeal like that. Well, I think for me, the main reason for coming back is like I tell many people that I've lived in Ukraine now for 5 years. I served in the Ukrainian military for 4 years, so I've pretty much in heart become Ukrainian. And for me, even though I can't go back to fighting because of the Geneva Convention, because if I was captured again, then I wouldn't have those protections. I think a part of me is wanting to do this so that I can at least continue doing what I love and am passionate about, especially with the political situation now in the West with support for Ukraine. And then I've also got a lot of my friends that are still in captivity.
So what are you engaged in doing now, and where exactly are you in Ukraine?
At the moment, I'm in eastern Ukraine in the Donbass region. My main roles and responsibilities at the moment are being an evacuation driver with my friend Rebecca, who's an American medic, and she's been here now for 2 years, and she's been training the Ukrainian soldiers on the front line in tactical medicine, and she also acts as a medic for when there's casualties that need to be attended to. As well as that, we're working with other organizations such as the Ghost Concept, which helps get needed supplies to the troops on the front line, such as winter gear or whatever the guys need to be able to function in their role. And then just 3 weeks ago, we took supplies into the barely encircled city of Avdiivka to take much needed medicine to the only remaining hospital there that's operating. But I think in principle, it's just doing whatever I can to get the job done that other people can't do.
And just being captured by Russia, what happened? What was that like?
I mean, I know my history with the way Russia has treated its past POWs. I mean, looking at Chechnya and Georgia, I knew I wasn't going to be in for a nice time. I think what took me by surprise was just by how sheer brutal it was, and the systematic torture of everyone that was captured, especially amongst civilians. I mean, myself, I didn't expect to be treated any differently. I expected to be treated even worse for just being a foreigner. But I think what caught me off guard was just the sheer brutality of it, especially when I saw that I was stabbed in the shoulder.
Aiden, just one quick question before we go. What's your assessment of how the war is now going, from speaking to people on the ground and seeing what's happening on the front line?
I think we've reached that stage of the conflict where it's now at a slower pace. The Ukrainians, they do have the advantage. They're on the defensive. Obviously, there's going to be heavy casualties on both sides of this conflict. But from what I've seen on the videos, I mean, yeah, we have heavy casualties on our side. It's a full-scale war. It's to be expected. But I've seen from the battlefield videos that I've been able to get access to that the battlefields are littered with casualties from the Russian side, and the Russians are paying a heavy price for 50 meters of Ukrainian land. So I think it might be another year or two before we see any estimate of where this conflict will be heading.
Aiden, thank you so much for your time.